Morning, good afternoon, good evening, fabulites. I got a question for you. What opens with James St. Patrick getting processed into jail the legit way? And what closes with James St. Patrick getting processed into jail via cop beatdown? If you guess Power Season 4 Episode 1, when I get out, when he gonna get out, then you're correct. And thank you for clicking and sticking around for my review recap of this episode. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. I don't think I feel as bad as getting processed into jail or getting beat down, but I ain't really feeling all that great today. But we gonna keep it moving. So let's jump right into it. Okay. So, we see Jamie St. Patrick, known to some of us as Ghost, being processed. As he's being processed into jail, he's reflecting as he drops his property in the bin on stuff that he missed and minimized that got his behind locked up. Cop, watch, cufflinks, empty your pockets. As he's putting his wallet in and his phone rings. He reaches in to get it because he think he's free to answer the phone and deal with emergencies. And the cop is like, you get your phone call later. And he's like, but what if it's an emergency? Angela's like, you want me to send some people over by the house to check on things? Some cops. So anyway, Jamie, baby, you in lockup. You locked up. It's not a lot that you could do from inside. I guess it depends on what connections you have or whatever, but you live in a whole different kind of life right about now. Okay. Let me stay focused. Then we see the cop killing FBI rat Sandoval about to get rid of the gun that killed Greg Knox. He's the real criminal because Jamie isn't a criminal. Or is he? Jamie is a criminal too. But he's the criminal we root for. Or do we? I don't know. I guess I'm rooting for Tasha. Or am I? I don't know who I'm rooting for. Is it Tommy? No. I mean, everybody's such a mixed bag. I don't know who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. It's just so confusing. Okay. So we see Sandoval. He's about to get rid of the gun that killed Knox. We're assuming that. And then he gets a call about St. Patrick's arrest for killing Knox. So he decides to keep the gun. He gonna plan it later or something. So then we see Tommy. He going into like a building. It looked like a warehouse type hookup. But then we realize it's the safe house where he's been stashing Keisha. And we find out that Keisha is alive. We didn't know where Keisha was. We didn't know what was up with her. But she's there. She's alive. And her ass would have been in trouble. She talking about who's there. Did she have a gun or a hatchet or something if they had the wrong answer? Was she standing at attention ready to kill and attack if they came in there after her? She ain't give off that vibration, did she? Okay, so he tells her the thing with Milan is over and she and her baby child can go back home. And then Tasha is calling while he's there and she tells him that Tariq has been kidnapped. Tariq is missing. And then we're at the club and Andre is talking to one of the staff people like, you know, we got to keep the business going, you know. And then Tommy comes in. He like, you know, Raina says that the child, who baby boy Tariq is missing, you know, that he like, look, baby boy Tariq is missing. Sorry, that's what Tommy says. And Raina says that Slim has something to do with it. So what's up? What's good, Andre, Mr. Dre? And then Andre is like, oh shoot, I'll deal with it. And Tommy's like, where's Ghost? And Dre is like, Ghost has been arrested. You better go tell his wife that. So, you know, and then we see Angela at her place, and it's been a rough day for her. She's trying to drink wine, but she drops the bottle. Now, her, I don't feel sad for worth a damn. So she on the bottom of my list of people that I'm rooting for. I ain't rooting for her ass. Okay, so Then we see Ghost lawyer Proctor, Joey Proctor, with his baby mama. I didn't even recognize him. I was like, who is that? Who are these people? And but she's a substance abuser, we find out, and he's there. They have joint custody of the child, but he's there. He want to take his daughter, and he's gonna take his daughter. He's in the process of taking his daughter, and his wife is like, I'll tell him you're the one that got me hooked on cocaine. Get out of here. And while he's there, he gets a call from Ghost, letting him know that Ghost is, you know, in lockup. He's like, you know, don't say anything. And his baby mama is yelling in the background, don't believe him, he ain't shit, or whatever. Okay, so then Tasha gets a call from Proctor letting her know that James is arrested on a homicide charge. She tells Proctor about the ransom demand and that Tariq has been kidnapped, and she's been trying to reach James and has not been able to reach him. And Proctor tells Tasha that Angela had arrested Jamie, and that Tasha, the last thing Tasha needs to do is tell James about the kidnapping. And then we see the kidnapper, you know, don't tell James about the situation because he on lockdown. He just been through this awful, humiliating situation, and it's not over. So the last thing he needs to know is more shit that he can't control. So, then we're with the kidnappers, you know, the cop, the woman cop who's gay, and Kanan and one other guy. And they're like, you know, no word from Tasha to us or to the cops. And then Dre comes and tells them that James got arrested. And Dre is like, you know, they like, you know, kind of trying to figure out what to do. And they basically like, well, we're going to send the kid back with Dre because with him getting arrested, it's probably, you know, it's going to be too hot on the block. And Dre is like, you know, had already been trying to negotiate with him. He like, if it's money you want, you know, I can get you money. I can get you $10,000 a week. And they like $10,000 a week each. Actually, $15,000 a week each. So then we see Tommy at Tasha's. And Tasha's like, you don't think it's Keenan, do you? And Tommy's like, nah, Keenan is dead. I'm sure it's not Keenan. And Tasha's like, okay. And then we see Tariq waking up. And Keenan is like, man, you know, when you was asleep, and I don't know who he said. I don't know if he calling Dre Ray Ray, because he said, oh, Ray Ray, I thought he said Ray Ray. Ray Ray text your mama a picture and a ransom note, acting like you was kidnapped, thinking it was going to be funny. You know, I'm going to give you this burner phone. You know, you go on home. Because Tariq wake up, he like, dang, you know, what happened? And, you know, my mom is going to be mad. And, here come the big dog coming down the street. Now, Miss Bella, the dog is coming. I want you to chillax and relax yourself. Yep. The best thing to do is to say nothing at all. Just be real cool. As a matter of fact, just ignore that dog. That's the best solution, to let that dog know that dog don't mean nothing to you. I said chillax. Then Keenan gives Tariq a burner phone. And he's like, you know, it's going to be too hot for you to call me on your regular phone. But, you know, just call me on this burner phone. And then Tariq, he like, well, you know, Kanan is like, what you gonna tell your mom? And Tariq is like, you know, I got a story for her. You know, I got something. You know, so when he gets home, his mother is like, oh my gosh, I was so worried about you. We thought you had been kidnapped. He like, oh, you know, it was my friends. They thought it would be funny because I fell asleep. And she like, well, baby girl said you was hanging out with Slim. You know, who is Slim? He like, oh, it's not Slim. You know, I just made up Slim because I didn't want her to know who I was hanging out with because, you know, they drink and stuff. And I'm not going to tell you who their names are because I don't want to get them in trouble just because I was a little kid and fell asleep and they thought it would be funny, you know, to text you the picture and pretend like I was getting kidnapped. And then he's like, where's Dad? Although Kanan already told him that his dad got arrested. But he's, you know, I guess getting that out the way. That's less lies to keep track of. He's like, where's Dad? And then his mom is like, I have to tell you something about your dad. And then baby girl is listening. Raina is listening from the hallway. And she's like, where's Dad? And then, you know, we see the mother talking to the twins, you know, Tasha talking to the twins about the dad's arrest. And then Tommy is like, yo, Dre's like, I've done my thing. I'm going to go on and get out of here. I see, bye. And then Tommy is like, yo, Dre, hold up. And then he, you know, go up to Dre and he like, you know, how'd you really, you know, find Tariq? And Dre is like, well, it's like what he said. You know, I hit him on the text message and then he called me back and, you know, I picked him up on the corner of Red Hook or somewhere in Brooklyn or something. So I don't even know who his friends are. And Tommy is like, you know, I don't believe your ass worth a damn, basically. And then we're back with Kanan and his cop cuz from Baltimore, from B-More, but she here now. And she like, he's like, I'm thinking about my, she like, you've been smiling ever since you found out that, my man was arrested, that Ghost was arrested. And he like, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about my first night in jail, how awful it was, just realizing how powerless you are and how fucked up everything is and how depressing it is and how awful it is. You know, he going into details, but as he's talking, we see Ghost and he like laying on his bed and he looking up at the sky. It's his first night in jail. So, you know, Kenan is telling us basically what types of feelings, you know, Ghost is experiencing. And then we see Jamie. And who is Jamie? Oh, St. James St. Patrick Ghost. He got so many names and identities, even I can't keep track of them. So we see Jamie in a meeting with Proctor, his lawyer. And the lawyer is like, you know, there was DNA under the guy's fingernails who got killed, Greg Knox. And Jamie is like, it's a lie. It wasn't my DNA under his fingernails. And then the Proctor is like, well, there were fingerprints, you know, in the apartment. And Jamie is like, it's a lie. Well, Proctor is like, well, outside the apartment on the window. And then, you know, Jamie is like, well, I was in the apartment because you told me I need to get that recorder. But I didn't kill him. I'm innocent. And Proctor is like, yeah, you know, whatever. But bail is our priority. You better convince everybody in here that you are James St. Patrick, club owner, legitimate club owner, citizen, just a regular citizen. You wouldn't know what to do with a gun if it fell on your lap. So that's, you know, kind of, you know. Then we see Tasha, she gets a call from Proctor, and he like, you know, we got to get this bail money together. Well, that's the priority. It's got to be clean. Tasha like, how much you know about me? He like, I know enough to tell you to make sure that damn money is clean. And, you know, she like, well, how much money do we need? He like, about $2 million. And then we see Lala, what's her, Keisha and Tommy at the safe house, and Keisha's like, I'm not going. I heard about Ghost. First it's Ghost, and then, you know, I'm all tied up in this mess. It could be you next, then Tasha. You know, y'all were laundering money through my shop. I could be the next one. And then Tommy like, look, we gotta go. Then he getting a phone call or whatever. Then we see Tasha at the bank, and she talking to the banker, and he's like, well, you know, y'all don't have any more stocks. Those have all been liquidated. And you know, Tasha's jaws are getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they should be tight. It's a jacked up situation. His ass now, he depending on her after what he done put her through. Okay. So Tasha's at the bank, or I don't know if it's a bank, because I mean, what banker handles not only a safe deposit box, but your stocks and bonds? So maybe she's not at a bank. Maybe she's with, you know, her money manager guy. But anyway, so they get into the room where the, you know, the safe deposit box are. And she like, you know, he like, I'll give you some privacy. And, you know, she opened the safe deposit box. It's basically empty too. It's some kind of note in there written on, you know, this kind of paper, but I couldn't really read it folded up. I tried, I rewound and tried. I couldn't figure out what it said, but it's probably like, I got the money, I owe you. So then we see Jamie, we back in jail with him, and he's being harassed by the Charlie Murphy cop. And this is like the second or third time that we done seen Charlie Murphy harassing him. Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. And then we see Keisha, she's at Tasha's, and she basically trying to prep Tasha for being with a guy that's in jail, because I guess she been with a guy that's in jail. And then it's this badass scene, or this moment, where Tasha is like talking to Keisha, and it's like she like is like goes to, it's like she hears something and she's turning around and slow. It was just like, what is it? What is it? What is it? and the cops show up with a warrant to search the premises, search the apartment. So Tasha ends up leaving Keisha in charge, but not before she has to open the safe deposit box for Angela. And Angela, you know, it's a gun in there, and Angela is like, is the gun loaded? And Tasha's like, I wouldn't have a loaded weapon around children. And we know that's because last season when when the child got Angela's loaded gun out of her purse, you know, she the new wannabe mommy side piece thing, fucking shit up. Okay, excuse my language. So then we see Tommy showing up at the barber shop with Milan's number 2. I can't remember his name, but I think I got it in my notes later. And he's like, you know, yeah, I told my employers, because Tommy's like, I don't even know how the Serbians, I think it's the Serbians, found out so quick that, you know, Jamie was arrested, that Ghost was arrested. And then number 2 is like, I told him. He like, yeah, I told our employers. You know, that's what we got to do. We can't be keeping secrets from them. We got to keep the product moving. And that's how we keep our jobs and our lives. So then we see Raina coming home into the, you know, them searching the apartment. And she's like all upset. And she says, what kind of side piece are you, Angela? You said you loved my father. You know, and so then baby girls, not baby girl, but Keisha come in, and she's like, you know, grimming Angela, because when Angela first came in, she was like to Tasha, you want me to beat her? I'll beat her ass. I'll beat her, or whatever. And then we in the jail that Jamie is in, we see an older white man, and he sees Jamie before Jamie is locked up for lights out or whatever. So we know it's something that he know, or some connection or something. They ain't really seem to recognize each other, but you know, they cool, smooth operators. They cool criminals. I don't be knowing what's going on, you know, half the time. I can't follow all the criminality. And then we at a meeting with Tommy's crew, you know, with Tommy and the crew. And he like, you know, the business is still on, you know, even though Ghost is arrested, you know, I'm the new connect now. So, you know, Julio is the new distro, and we still, you know, working with the Serbs. It's business as usual. And then we see the older white man, and he's with an Asian man prosecutor, who's trying to get him to give him some information. Try to get him to confess, and the guy is like, well, you know, you done asked me to confess 1,000,000 times. Why would I confess now? And the Asian guy is like, well, you know, your wife is sick. You know, maybe you want to see her, spend some time with her before she dies. You know, be there for her at the end, or at least get to her funeral. And while he's saying that, he making a phone call. Then he, you know, he's like, see you later, and he walks out. And then we see, and I think I saw the white man kind of ball up his fist, like it was kind of getting to him a little bit. So maybe he gonna tell on Jamie or something. Because, you know, they don't know that Jamie and Ghost are one and the same. And his lawyer is like, you know, you better be Jamie, because it's your word against Angela's. I don't care if Angela know what she know. They gonna have to prove it. So you better act like you Jamie. You better be Jamie. You know, don't nobody know you Ghost. And then we see Tasha. She trying to find the money to get Ghost out. You know, there's basically no money to get, no legit money to get. And she finds a necklace in Jamie's bag, a gift for his side piece. And it looked diamondy and shit. And then we see Joe and Angela. And who is Joe and Angela? Joe and Angela. Oh, Joe Proctor. Yeah, Joe Proctor and Angela. And Joe is like, you know, Proctor is like, you know, you mad because he went back to his wife. You know he ain't killed that cop. And then John, the Asian prosecutor, comes up, and Proctor introduces Angela to the Asian prosecutor. And then we see Tasha visiting Jamie in jail. And she lets Jamie know that Angela served a search warrant. The children were all upset. They were going through their stuff. They ain't got no money. Fine, got no money for your bail. Should I sell the necklace that I found? And then, you know, he like, it wouldn't be enough. And then, you know, she's like, we rent the apartment. And I'm shocked. And then she's like, we don't own the Truth Building. And I'm shocked again, because, damn, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what their situation is, why they didn't, you know, funnel some of their money into some stuff that was, you know, like owning your own property. You know, even though it's in New York and it's an apartment, it's still considered ownership in New York. You know, so, and then the penalties are too, if we try to dissolve the trust, the penalties just aren't, it don't even make it worth it. And then, you know, Jamie is like, Dean, we can get the money from Dean. Dean, go ask Dean for my money. There's a service that he didn't renter. Go get my money back from Dean. And she's like, I don't know, and then that's the end of that scene. And then two of Angela's colleagues are basically, you know, planning Sandoval, the murderer, and the other guy. They're like, yeah, you know, talking about the case, and, you know, basically Angela ain't shit, and we got to keep her out of it. And Angela walk into the room, and she giving them, you know, a look. And then they're like, well, you know, you were fucking the defendant and the victim, so, you know, it is kind of a conflict of interest, don't you think, Angela? And then she's like, it's my case. And then John walks in. He's the Asian lawyer, and he's like, you know, hey, what's up? And they like, what you doing here? Following the cameras? And he like, well, you know, the cameras, I go where the work is. You know, cameras and the work are in the same place. This is my case. I'm the first chair. You know, you can be second chair, Sandoval. And hey, and they ain't happy to see him. And then Angela, he like, you know, Angela, let's go to your office or whatever. And then they, you know, he's like, you know, you're going to be, you know, really, really important. I need your help. You know, you're going to be an integral part of this investigation. And then, you know, Angela is like, you know, telling him that, you know, not, he's asking about context between Knox and Jamie. And she like, you know, it wasn't really no context. It was just that Knox thought that Jamie was, you know, involved with some narcotics. But, you know, he wasn't, but he did stop him. And, you know, Jamie told me that Knox pulled him over. And John, the Asian attorney, is like, well, let me see the log from where he pulled him over. And Angela's like, well, there's no log, but why would Jamie lie to me about that? And the Asian guy is like, well, Jamie is a criminal. He's a liar. He lied to you about a lot of stuff. Angela is like, so what? I'm going to be the third chair? And then John is like, no, you're not going to be the third chair. You could be called as a witness. It's a conflict of interest. You ain't gonna be shit. Now go sit down and try to write down, you know, everything you know, and see if you can separate the truth from a lie. And then we see Sue and Julio, and they coming into the club. We don't know Sue, but Andre lets us know that she's a pro. I guess a prostitute, a prostitute. And Andre is like, hey, don't be coming in here. You could have called me or text me. You know, I don't need to meet you or your girlfriend. Julio is like, this ain't my girlfriend. It's your new employee. And Andre is like, I run the legit side now. You can't be coming in here telling me who to hire. Does she even know how to mix drinks? He like, well, you can teach her to mix drinks. And yeah, she's hired. And somebody had to teach you how to mix drinks. So don't be trying to act like you all legit. You know, you a thug just like all of us. And, you know, get her a uniform. And then we see Tasha and Tommy in the car. And they're trying to figure out the Dean thing. Because Tasha's like, Dean is Milan, right? And what does this have to do with getting the money? And then, you know, she's trying to tell Tommy exactly what Ghost said so they can figure out the code. And then they figure it out. They figure out what it means. And then they try to figure out a strategy to get Patar. That's number 2. That was Milan's number 2. To get Patar to give the money to Ghost. So, you know, then we see Tommy and Patar. And Patar is like, why would I give the money to Ghost? And Tommy is like, look, you know, it's a benefit to you to have a paper trail. You know, Milan's disappeared. You can say he disappeared. He didn't render the service. That's why you refunded the money. It helps you. It helps everybody. So go on and, you know, do it as a reimbursement. Then we see Tommy and Andre. And Andre is like, I got to hire her, you know. And I've been real with you. I done held you down through this, and I done held you down through that. You know, I'm the one. Why you choose Julio over me? And Tommy is like, who's Slim? And Andre is like, like I told you. And Tommy like, yeah, little Negro, that's why, you know, I don't trust your behind, because you're not trustworthy. So then we're in the courtroom, and Jamie St. Patrick, you know, it's the bail hearing. Proctor is there. The Asian man, John Mack, is there. Mack. It seems to be going well. It seems to be going in Ghost's favor. The judge is like, you know, house arrest seems appropriate. And then no bail is set. Bail is denied. So I couldn't figure out, I watched it twice, I couldn't figure out what the turn was. I don't know, you know, because he's like an African-American father. I'm like, is she upset because he said black? I mean, I don't know what happened. But then we see Jamie being cuffed in the jail room by Charlie Murphy. And he says to Angela, you don't think I did this? And Angela's like, no, I don't think you did this. I know you did it, Jamie. And then we see Keenan, and he's getting the payment from Andre, who tries to check Keenan and be like, stay away from little Tariq. And Keenan is like, fine. Then before boss Andre can even get away, Keenan is texting. I knew he was texting Tariq. And then we see Tariq getting the text from Keenan. And Tariq is like, oh, when can we hook up? Like, that's his grown-ass man-friend boy. I mean, why does this little boy... I'm telling you. Okay, he get on my nerves with that foolishness. Okay, so then we see Tommy in the warehouse, and he's sending Julio the distro off to distro, and then he calls Proctor, and he's like, you know, we gotta talk. And then we see Tasha getting home, and it's like she just looking around, and it's like a mess. And she starts cleaning. It's like her whole life is a mess. You know, it's gone from bad to worse with her husband trying to go legit. Then he get involved with this other woman. Then he go be with the other woman. Then he sort of kind of not exactly back with her. Then now he arrested. Now they coming down on her. It's just a mess. And then we see Jamie in jail, and he's being taken off by Charlie Murphy plus one other guard. And it's like they the guys, because he's in jail, and we don't know where they taking him. I don't know if he's being released. I don't know if he's being to talk to the older white guy. I don't know where, when, why, how, when, but then they beat him down. So it's not looking good for the home team. Is he the home team? It ain't looking good for my man. But that's what I got. It was a good episode. I'm so excited that Power is back. I was excited that Survivor's Remorse was back, but it's not back till August. But that's what we got. Be you, be fabulous, be fabulous you. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, and for being here. Peace.